Okay, and we're going to go over a very brief lecture here on how to perform the variance analysis, all right, in Excel. And again, we talked about this, that we're just trying to break down and understand what are the causes of these variances that we have budget from actual. So let's jump in and get started right away. And you can see here that I've got the cost of beverages sold data for a restaurant. And here's our budget for the month, all right? This is our actual. So our variation was $500 unfavorable, right? Remember, the brackets are unfavorable. There aren't positives and negatives. It's favorable and unfavorable. So you can see here that this is our total beverages in units, okay? And this is our average beverage cost, okay? And you can see the total variations here. So what we want to do is we want to understand what's causing this negative variation. How much of it is volume, how much of it is price, and how much of it is the price volume variance, okay? So here we go. If we take a look over here, and I'm just clicking this along so we can go through it quickly, we see that in order to determine the price variance, we take the budgeted volume and multiply it by the difference between the actual price and the budgeted price. And you got to make sure you do these in order or you'll get goofy numbers. So if we look at that, how do we do this in Excel? Well, we come over here and you can see that I've developed the formula, which is, you can see right here, everything's highlighted, C5, okay, which is our budgeted beverages sold, which comes from the budgeted volume. And then we're going to take the difference between the average cost of the beverage sold from the budgeted and the actual, to be more precise, the actual minus the budget. And this is what we get as a difference, $225. So we know that $225 of this $556 variance is coming, or is due to price, okay, or due to cost. So there's a difference in that cost. And it could be that now we could break that down further and look at the cost and say, well, how much of that is due to vendor changes in prices and so forth, which is what the majority of it would be, or other factors. Then we go and we can look at what is the amount of our volume variation. And again, you can see over here our volume variation is the budgeted price, okay, times the difference between my actual volume and my budgeted volume. So if I come over here, we can see I've got the formula right up in there, right, which is D5, okay, right here, times the difference between my actual and budgeted beverages sold. And that tells me what my volume variation. So of that 556, 313 is coming from my volume, okay, that because we had more amount of sales for that. Now, here's an interesting thing, especially when you get into cost of sales. The main variance here is actually the price variance, because it could be that the volume variation is just a result because you sold more. I mean, if you sold more, you're going to have more cost of sales. Now, in this case, you know, it may be that there's some waste in here. The real way to determine this would go to take an inventory and see if there was any differences in my inventory. The difference between my online inventory, okay, what they call your perpetual inventory, okay, and my periodic inventory, which is what I physically count. If there's a difference there, that would tell me what my waste was, okay, or theft or whatever, but it isn't there anymore, or shrinkage. It could be anything. And then finally, we have the price volume variance, okay, and you can see the equation for that over here. And it's my actual minus my budgeted price, the difference of those two, times the difference between my actual volume and budgeted volume. And again, you can see those being highlighted here. And, you know, the price volume variation is just because there is an association between my the amount of items that I sell and what I sell it for, and there's an overlap of units and dollars that has to be accounted for. Now, I want you to look at one thing over here. You'll notice that when you're looking at variances, you have to have a common element in there that you can compare to. And if you noticed, I put in red these budget numbers, okay? Because if you notice, it's always budgeted volume times the actual minus the budget. Budgeted price times the actual volume and budgeted volume. So the difference. So again, that budgeted amount is where you always start from. And anyway, that's the short version of how we can do this. If you want to look fancy about it and just kind of highlight this, go to Insert. You can chuck in a little graph here. We'll go over here, and let's see what it recommends. How's that? Yeah, we can just pop that in, and you can see right here, we can see where the variations are coming from and just graphically represent it. Kind of make it look cool. Put in some numbers. So anyway, that's the quick version on how to do this in Excel. Good luck with your homework assignment.